Hey guys, Nolo here. A little more than a month ago, we set a ball rolling. We have a highly populated planet that looks almost but not quite like Earth called Brolodice. And I challenged you, dear viewer, to find a better Earthlike. The results have been incredible. We have just passed 328 members on the Nolo Brolos Discord, and we have a great list of candidates. All of them are more Earth-like than Brolodice, especially since all of them have blue skies instead of green. In this video, you, dear viewer, will decide which one will be our capital planet for our soon-to-come civilization. I'm gonna now go through each of the planets, ranking them from least Earth-like to most Earth-like, and giving each a score. Regardless of the score, remember that you decide with your vote which is going to be our next capital. The link to both the vote page as well as the Discord server is down in the description. Before we begin, there's going to be 15 points maximum for each category, which is colors, plants, creatures, weather, and sentinels, and 5 bonus points if there's a moon, and another 5 points if there are any outstanding features. Without further ado, let us begin. Candidate 1, submitted by user Viripsum. Let's start off with the colors. Very beautiful Earth-like coloring. I docked just 1 point because the trees could be a little more saturated, but even then, still very Earth-like. 14 out of 15 points for color. Plants also look really good, but I didn't make a category for rocks, so the rocks here look a little cuckoo, so I am going to dock a few points for that into the plants category. On this planet, we only have flying and water creatures, and the ones that I could find are a feathered bat, an Earth-like bat, and a great-looking stork, kind of like the ones on Brolodice. So not too bad. 10 out of 15 for the creatures. The terrain is very beautiful here, very reminiscent of Brolodice. We have the canyons striping the landscape, leading to possible river locations. We have stone pillars, 14 out of 15 for the terrain. Sadly, this planet does have choking humidity, meaning there are storms, not extreme ones, but still stormy. 8 out of 15 for the climate. And this planet sadly also has high sentinel activity. At least in most difficulties, they will not attack you on sight, so I still give it 10 out of 15 points for the sentinel activity. There is no moon bonus, but I do give a 5-point bonus to this planet because of its similarity to the Brolodice planet. And our final score is 74 for candidate number 1. This is candidate number 2, submitted by fellow member Growmaze on the Discord. The colors are close to perfect. The sky, the grass, the water, there's an abundance of red trees, which we have on Earth as well. I'll only deduct 1 point because I would have liked to see more green trees, but it's not a deal breaker. 14 out of 15 for the colors. Plants are perfect. There's no alien looking trees or shrubs. 15 out of 15. Creatures, some are very Earth-like, like this snooty looking cow. Others, not so much. 6 out of 15 for the creatures. The terrain of this one is very hilly and there's vast oceans, but I am docking 5 points due to the floating islands. This reminds me more of Pandora than Earth. 10 out of 15 for the terrain. There's no storms and low sentinel activity, giving each of these a 15-point score. And there's no moon bonus, giving us a final score of 75 points for Growmaze's planet. Candidate number 3 was submitted by Kaput. The colors are simply perfect, nothing to say here, just perfection. 15 out of 15. Plants are also perfection. There's nothing that's not Earth-like about this flora. 15 out of 15. Sadly, the creatures here are kind of exotic. We have this snake ball that's like writhing, and we have pineapple animals. Not much in the way of Earth creatures, so I do have to give a 5 out of 15 for this. The terrain is very Earth-like if you ignore the giant tombstones everywhere. I mean, Earth does have some crazy rock formations, but I'm going to dock 1 point off because of these funny looking tombstones everywhere. Still not too bad. So 14 out of 15 for terrain. No storms. Perfect 15. There is high sentinel activity here as well. It's not a deal breaker. Remember, depending on the settings that you have, they might be aggressive, they might not be, but I'll give it 10 out of 15 for sentinels. And there is a nearby planet as well that looks like Earth's moon. Very nice. 4 out of 5 for the moon bonus, giving us a total score of 78 points for Kaput's planet. And now an honorable mention. I'm not going to rate this planet on an Earth-like score because it's more exotic, but IndieKid's planet that he found, it's beautifully colored, especially the oceans and the sandy beaches. It is a bubble planet. We got a bunch of bubbles everywhere. We have great looking creatures, cute little diplos, and these mineral dudes. With all this crazy terrain and glowing grass at night, it's not really an Earth-like, but we have an Earth adjacency, so I'm going to include it in the vote. It even has a moon, guys, so do not sleep on the honorable mention submitted by IndieKid. Candidate number 4 was submitted by Dudmink. The colors are beautiful in this world. The oceans are a bit on the greener side, but that's well within Earth-like parameters. We have plenty of algae in the water here, so 15 out of 15 for colors. The plants are also very Earth-like, 15 out of 15. And the creatures here caught me off guard. They're all pretty much Earth creatures. I mean, if they lived near a nuclear wasteland, I mean, we have Triceratops, a 6-legged cow, a huge leopard with an appendage on its head. Great variety of Earth-like animals here. They aren't perfect, but I am going to give it the highest creature score so far of 13 out of 15 points. The terrain is also nothing too crazy, but it's very realistic. If you ignore the subtle worm formations barely under the surface. Only OG players are going to remember when we used to have these babies all over planets, sticking way above the surface. Now most planets that do have these are very hidden, like in this case. 14 out of 15 for terrain. This planet was seeming too good to be true. It sadly experiences superheated drizzles, meaning that we should pack our umbrellas for this one. 8 out of 15 for climate, and the sentinel activity is also high on this planet. 10 out of 15 for sentinels. And I will give it an extra 4 bonus points for how appealing I found the creatures to be. So that's another 4 points, leading to a total score of 79 for candidate number 4, submitted by Dunbank. Candidate number 5 was submitted by our user Grim Warlock. Its colors are also perfect, 15 out of 15, and the plants as well, they're very Earth-like, 15 out of 15. As for creatures, there are no land creatures, only birds, fish, and cave dwellers. And I didn't get the chance to scan all of them, but the birds do have bat wings, so not very Earth-like, so I'm gonna have to dock a few points, so 10 out of 15 for the creatures. And the terrain here is also very realistic. I'm just gonna dock one small point because of the fact that there's not really big continents, it's more of a bunch of islands and lakes. An archipelago planet, that's a fancy word, archipelago. Yeah, 14 out of 15 for terrain. There's no storms here, giving us a perfect climate score. And the sentinels here are unwavering. They're not aggressive on most difficulty settings, but just know that's still a pain, giving us 10 out of 15 for the sentinels. And there is no moon bonus, but there is a white sand and turquoise water bonus I'm gonna throw in there. 5 points, giving us an 84 for candidate number 5. And our final candidate was submitted by Staffy. It's candidate number 6. The colors here are great. It's another red tree planet though, so I'm gonna take off 1 point, but still 14 out of 15 for colors. The trees and shrubs all look Earth-like. The grass is a little bulbous, but at least it doesn't glow at night, so it's still pretty realistic. 14 out of 15. Here's another planet with no land creatures. The only creature I did get to scan here is a bird with a mantis head, so what the hell, I'm gonna give it 10 points out of 15. I mean, it's better to see a bird off in the distance with a bug head than seeing these damn tentacle things we have in Brolodice, so I'll take what I can. And as for the terrain, I'm gonna give it a perfect 15 score because there's large continents, there's great shorelines with very interesting beaches, and the round rolling hills kind of remind me of Windows XP. There's no storms here, and there's low sentinels, so both of these get a perfect 15 score. And this planet also does have a moon, kind of like Earth. I mean, it is toxic and it's not airless, but it's still gray in the sky, so I'm going to give it the full 5-point bonus, giving this planet a score of 88 points for candidate number 6. So, these are our 7 candidates. Which one was your favorite? Make sure to vote in the poll in the description or send your vote over to the Discord server. Remember, whichever planet wins is going to be our next capital city. We're going to be building major bases here. We're going to have this a second Brolodice. I know Brolodice has like 200 bases already or more, but this is also going to be our central hub of activity. And based on that, we're going to have themed planets in the future. And if you want to be a part of this, make sure to join the Discord server. A very special thank you to Mark Mahoney for being a channel member and helping create this content, as well as the other channel members. Thank you so much. If you want to be a channel member, the link should be down in the description, as well as a link next to my channel. This has been Nolopada. Remember to have an incredible day, and I can't wait to see which planet wins.